Okay, I'm gonna record. Are
Oh,
you
I
ready?
can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Nope.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
You can hear me?
yeah.
Yes.
We're like
Okay.
95. We can't figure
You're
out Zoom
you're nine. Oh,
like our old people.
no, yeah, I get that. Okay, so for my project, I have to explain an explainable or interpretable method to a general or non-technical audience, meaning family member and family member's boyfriend.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to be explaining to you guys. So just ask any questions that you have. Okay.
Okay. Can you
Okay.
start
So,
with what's an explainable, interpretable?
mhm.
Okay.
So essentially in machine learning and data science, a lot of the times people in this field work with very large sums of data and they make decisions based off of this data. And it's often very hard to understand someone else's decisions if you don't actually know how they came up with that decision and like what their thought process was to get to that outcome. So there's this thing called explainable AI or interpretable AI, which is there's different methods to help people understand how you came to a certain outcome. So, for example, the one that I'm going to explain to you is an algorithm called decision trees. Do you have any other questions about explainable or interpretable methods before I go into that?
Can all AI be explained?
So not all AI can be explained because there's this term called black box algorithms, which essentially you can think of it as like if the lights are off, then you can't see anything, right?
Right.
But when you turn the lights on, then you can see. So it's called a black box because it's like you essentially can't see the decision-making process. It's black and like you can't see the step-by-step process like you can with other methods. So if it's a
But
black box, what?
doesn't AI hallucinate sometimes?
Yes, it does.
So
So,
what happens if it's a black box, but it just made something up?
so then that's a really good point, Daniel. So if it hallucinates and it's a black box model, then it's nearly impossible to understand why the model came to that particular decision and why it was wrong and why it hallucinated, since you
What's
can't
an
see that
example
decision-making process.
of a black box model? Like our social media feed algorithms like that?
Not all social media algorithms are like that. Like, for example, your social media, your reels on Instagram might be funny memes about sisters or your relationship with mom because that's like what you click on the most. So
Oh,
if we went in and looked at your data and looked at the algorithm that it's feeding you, then we would be able to see that because maybe you spend more time like liking those photos or you spend more time visually looking at those photos and those memes, then that is in turn why your outcome or why your videos on reels are catered to your relationship with me or your relationship with mom. So an example of a black box method could be like what Daniel said. Like let's say someone is they created a chatbot for their healthcare company and I type in the chatbot and I say, what is my head hurts, what should I do? And it says, you should go jump off a cliff. And so I'll be like, what the heck? Like, that's horrible. Like, I'm going to email the boss of this company and the creator of the chatbot and say, your chatbot just said this to me. Do you know why? And if the person can't explain why their model is wrong and why they told me to jump off of a cliff instead of taking Advil, then that means that it's a black box since it can't explain how it came to that specific outcome.
Hmm. So when would you want to use a black box
You would never,
algorithm?
you wouldn't, well, you
if you're
wouldn't ideally, you ideally wouldn't want to use a black box, but sometimes with like really complicated data, um, like it's not actually feasible to use explainable methods. So for the most part, it is the best route and the most ethical route to make your AI models and your algorithms explainable. But sometimes you have to trade off between it being completely explainable or between it being more accurate. So
Hmm.
there's different ways like to make it not fully explainable. Like you can make it explainable but not interpretable, meaning that like I can explain the methods to you, but maybe you can't fully understand why we're doing what we're doing. So it's a very complex idea, but ideally you wouldn't have something be completely black box.
Got it.
Let's
So
dig in.
okay, let's dig in. So decision trees, I'll share my screen just so you can see a little visual, just so you can get an idea. Can you see my screen?
Hmm.
Yes. Can you
Okay,
make
so
it?
this is a blog that I wrote, but this is a visual. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So a decision tree is essentially like a flow chart or like a mapping system for you to see the decision-making process. So ultimately, you'll start with a decision like, should I buy a winter coat? And then you'll start with the root node, which is this red dot here. And that's the first node of the decision tree. So that would be like, should I buy a winter coat? Yes or no. So let's say it goes down to here, this blue note and this blue note, it would be yes or no. So if you say yes, then it would break it down into another feature like, is the coat on sale? Or another feature like, is the coat good quality? And then you would break it down and keep breaking it down until you no longer can make any more relevant outcomes or relevant outputs from these questions and from these choices that you're making. So essentially, it's a step by step process to get to a particular outcome, if that makes sense. Or what questions do you have based on that?
That makes sense to me.
That makes sense to me also. It just seems like I guess like the prompt or whatever you give it is just like really important. Since
Mm-hmm.
like that'll, like you want it to follow the right path for you, not like a different path. You want to like follow your thinking and like hopefully expand on that thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Like you want to start the root node and the nodes that come after that, the internal nodes, those are the most important and those hold the most amount of weight and importance. And then it kind of gets less and less important as you go down the tree and go down the branches and the leaves.
Got it.
So this decision tree method is one of the most widely used explainable methods, especially for non-technical audiences. So this is really good for you guys if you ever need to explain your decision making in your jobs or in your careers. This is a really easy way to prove like why you made a particular decision. Like this is right because of XYZ. These clear steps have been taken, and they're especially helpful in the healthcare industry, in finance, and in any like high stake industry where you really want people to understand exactly why you made this particular decision in comparison to more complex models that I'm not going to get into that with you guys. Do you have
Okay.
any questions?
Not right now.
This was
Okay,
very clear.
awesome. Now, hopefully, you guys can use decision trees.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
Tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.